Okay, welcome everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Islam to all the more. Shalawama. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's pick it back up. We're in chapter 2. This is the free astrotheology course. I am Dr. Yasapa. This is our textbook, The Celestial Ship of the North, okay, by E. Valencia Straiton. Yeah, Straiton. Published in 1927. This is volume 1 of a 2-volume series. So let's pick it back up, scholars. We ended last class on page 28. All right, so page 27 is a few things, 2 points I want to review, and then we'll go right into our topic for today. So keep in mind, page 27, Cam, the Egyptian or Kemetic Cam, K-A-M, is the Hebrew Ham, H-A-M. And then also, it says this: Cam, the Ham of the Hebrews, was known as the country of the coming forth. Country of the coming forth. So you can relate that back to the Great Bear, right? Relate that back to the Great Bear, the constellation in the north, today called the Big Dipper. The Great Bear, which is the place of the coming forth. Okay, so the celestial origin of all things formed. Hold on, y'all. I got to work my magic. I seem to be coming down with the cold, but I can deal with it. I think if I if I still have symptoms when I get to the house, and I remember to do it, symptoms will be gone in the morning. I remember I told someone that. They didn't believe me, of course, until they got sick. And then I gave them something to drink, just foods, you know. You can drink it in the morning, gone, back to normal. Anyway, let's go back to where we're at with the Great Thigh. Oh, y'all can check that, because if I go back, I'll get sidetracked. Okay, so the point is, make the connection. Anyway, also, the law of correspondence, the Hermetic law of correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above. So Cam, the Ham of the Hebrews, was known as the country of the coming forth. Okay? Research brings to light in the Hebrew writings much mythological astrology. Now, the myth has its origin in the teaching tools that we prepared, right? In the concrete expressions and stories that we created, okay, to teach abstract concepts. And then they were then turned into mythologies by traders, okay, by traders. And then later, these mythologies were remixed into dogmatic religion or religious doctrine. Okay, Jeremiah 8, verse 8. Is that clear? Excuse me. And that happened somewhere between 4,000, 4,500 BCE with the forced transition from the celestial ship of the north, the circumpolar zodiac, which our ancestors looked to, as we saw, in last class that we looked to the North Celestial Pole being the place of beginnings, right? Beginnings. In other words, things were formed and reformed, transformed, second law of thermodynamics. And then the Celestial South Pole, which is principles, okay, which are the principles, all right? So that was our mindset. And then that was forcibly taken away from us, forcibly through violence by the Osirians, and let me take a look at this. I keep going through this, y'all, because I want everybody to know this, all right? This is critical. So the villains are the Osirians, okay, those who worshipped Osiris, or those who sought to take us out of our mindset that we just talked about, circle 7, clock of destiny, that we just talked about, right? The circle that our ancestors drew around that which is boundless, okay? And then, of course, the clock. Today, the Great Bear is called the Big Dipper. There are 7 stars that make it up. That's why everything that's 7 is emphasized so much, okay? All that 7's stuff comes from the Great Bear or the Big Dipper. That's his origin, okay? Everything else is a remix of it. And of course, that's the minute hand. And then, of course, the dog star in the south is the hour hand. So that's where we get circle 7, and also the clock of destiny. That's where our ancestors created time, and the beginnings, or the formations and reformations, I should say, of everything had their origin. All right? So it was the Osirians who sought to take that away from us. Okay? Put the focus on the SUN sun. But we have to keep in mind that we are the SUN sun, because SON and SUN, it's the same meaning. Okay? Only during recent times did that change. Okay? And I think it's as late as 600, allegedly AD, something like that, that they put a man on the cross. They took the lamb off of the cross, and of course the lamb is Sebek Ra. Sebek Ra. Sebek goes back to Sut, S-U-T, which was remixed into Set, blah, 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 okay, across all the different religions. This is what happened. And the Osirians made Sebek Ra the focus. In other words, they said that from now on, time is going to be kept by the SUN sun. This is a solar zodiac projection. But keep in mind, SUN, as I said, is SON. So we, in fact, are the sun. Okay? Our ancestors back then, if I remember correctly, they only acknowledged, I think it was 7 or 8 zodiac signs. Okay? All right. But that, I guess that's not even important. What I want to say now, having to do with the solar zodiac projection. The SUN sun, when it enters into each constellation, fully takes on the characteristics or the attributes and character of that zodiac sign. Okay? When it leaves it, goes into the next one, it fully takes on the attributes and characteristics of that zodiac sign. So this is where Jesus, the Christ figure, going through his ministry, right? Going from house to house. Y'all get it? Going from house to house. different trials and tribulations that he had to experience in each house of the Zodiac. So you must remember that Jesus is man. The Son, Jesus is the S-U-N. And the S-U-N is the S-O-N. Okay? So that is us in our higher self. Now, this is my opinion, how I'm understanding it. Initially, it could have been the S-U-N is man going into each house of the Zodiac and the trials and tribulations he would experience. Okay? The same as the story about Jesus walking into the different Zodiac signs. So that same story that you learn in astrotheology would apply to every man and every man with a womb. Every autochthonous born, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, man and woman sprung from the soil, who is thought made manifest from the soil. Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm saying? So that was remixed. That was remixed. So in other words, it's taken out of your memory that you're the S-U-N son. And they replace you with a solar deity. Okay, you choose, there's 15 or 16 of them. You choose the religion. This is what happened with the remix. And then they put us in that mindset. Okay? All right? Hiram Abiff is in a dead state laying down with his head in Aries. Okay? And of course, Aries is Sebek, Ra, the ram, the lamb. This is why Moses comes out of the mountain. Some scriptures will say he had horns. Others, you know, the light, the glory of the light. And there's one piece of art that showed the horns being rays of light. Okay? And that's because the ancient Ibaryath word, when rendered in English, can either be rendered as horns, as in ram's horns, or light, as in glory, as in the S-U-N sun. So y'all see that? Does everyone see what happened here? All right? But as long as your head is in Aries and you're laying down horizontally with your head in Aries and your feet in Libra, you are in a dead or civilly dead state. You're in a religious frame of mind because that's, you know, Jesus the Christ figure. Okay, dogmatic religion. Okay, so we must stand up. This is our mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, right, y'all? Your head becomes the north celestial pole, meaning that the north celestial pole, right? This is the place of origins, beginnings. Okay, or let me restate that. Transformations, reformations. Okay, the original place. Y'all see it? So if you are energy transformed into flesh, if you are thought made manifest or thought transformed into flesh, right, through your interaction with the soil, well then that's who you originally are, thought. So why not go back to that? Y'all see what I mean? Be yourself. Moors, be yourself. If you only knew who you are, and then your feet standing at the South Pole, which are the principles, right? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the 5 greatest principles in the universe. Okay, so this comes out of C.M. Bay's work, Clock of Destiny, volume 2, page 38. All right, so this is the Moor who has gone back to the mindset of his ancient foremothers and forefathers, which means you're following the law, which means you're keeping the Most High's commandments. Most High, what's more high than the northern celestial pole and the pole star? What's more high? Nothing. The sun is not as high as that. Y'all see? the elevation of the sun is much, much lower. So now this is the more who is alive, civilly alive. In fact, let me show y'all. I haven't done this in a while, so it's good for me to do this. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for a writ, one of our holy writs. So y'all, I get these writs off of enforcetheconstitution.org. Give me 1 second. Let me see if there's a writ in here. I hope let me show you. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Y'all be patient, please. I may not have brought them. I have to be very careful with what I bring because of rainy season and everything can get destroyed, right? If, you can have a waterproof anything, but the rain here, it ain't gonna be waterproof. It's not gonna hold up over time. Yeah, I don't have them. I don't have the writs with me. But what wait, maybe I do. Hold on. Do I have any? So y'all can go to enforcetheconstitution.org and look at more, for example, and you can find some of the cases. Go to the well, y'all, scholars, I don't have them. Let me see. If I have my battery. Let me see if my battery is. I'm 2% on my battery. Shoot. Well, anyway. So this is when the more, we could say, has returned to the Most High. The more is in full life, right? In his proper person, sui juris of his own right. He's in full life, okay? Not lost at sea, not civilly dead. Most importantly, in honor of his ancient foremothers and forefathers. In honor of his ancient foremothers and forefathers. Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Okay, he's living according to the instructions and the principles that have been passed down to him from his ancient foremothers and forefathers. Y'all see it? All right. But in this position, the more is dead. Okay? In this position, the more is in full life in honor of his ancient foremothers and forefathers. And now what do we see, y'all? We see a cross that has been distorted into a religious symbol. We also see longitude and latitude, right? We also see longitude and latitude. Okay, so anyway, let's get back into it. Hold on. Let's keep making it do what it do. So, and also, everyone, so we're dealing with geometry and all of these other cultural things that we brought into existence, okay, as the original people, but not just the original, but the only people, okay. All right. So if you want to know more about the Osirians, and how they screwed us over big time, replaced our mindset, our worldview, our way of living with the solar zodiac projection, you can get that on page 24. Okay, so now let's move back to page 27. I kind of got off track, but let's pick it back up. Cam and Ham was known as the country of the coming forth. Okay, Research brings to light that in the Hebrew writings, much mythological astrology evolved from a study of the heavens. In other words, much of what you learn in your Torah, in the prophets, have their origin in astrology. As I mentioned earlier, okay? As I mentioned earlier, natural phenomena with the Hermetic Laws and the natural phenomena we expressed in concrete terms and used these metaphors as teaching tools. Those teaching tools were remixed into mythology, and then the mythology was remixed into dogmatic religious doctrine, or they just made up deities, made up stories, added to the mythologies, and then they gave these deities and people histories and biographies, okay, and claimed that it was real history, okay? That's the point I want to make here on page 27. Now let's keep going. Which afterward was given to the world as history and religion. As history and religion. Y'all see that? Now, is there a place for the Hermetic law of correspondence? As above, so below. As below, so above. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's why I have the project to correct the book of the law, which means to restore in plain sight all of the astrology and make known the fake history and the fake mythologies. That's the whole purpose of that project. So I hope y'all will support it. If y'all want to support it, the links are in the description area of this video, because it takes finance to do this. Okay, y'all? So here you have it, not from me, but from this author, Valencia Straighton, who published this book in 1927, and of course she has her sources, who published their books way before she did. Okay. So this project absolutely must be done. In fact, what comes to mind is when Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, to change the people, you must change their literature. And what comes to my mind, change the people, that means change their mindset. To change their mindset, you must change their literature. So to change their mindset to what? Back to the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, which is the circumpolar zodiac, the celestial ship of the north. The celestial ship of the north. Okay? The great bear, the great mother, Hathor. Okay, y'all? I want y'all to see this. I don't remember what page and what line it's on. Well, when it comes to me, I'll show y'all again, but I've already covered it, I think, last class. But anyway, that's what he said. So we have to change the literature. So let's change the book of the law. Let's correct the book of the law. That's my point. Let's correct it. Shift it away from the solar zodiac projection back to the north celestial pole, back to the circumpolar zodiac. Okay? Plainly show the astrology, plainly show the remixes, and even remove them. Okay? So I have the ability to do it. I have the skill set to do it. But it takes time. right? And so I need everyone's support in order to do it, because I'm not going to be eating soy sauce and rice and getting sick because I'm trying to do the project, right? And then who knows, maybe I won't survive. And y'all already know what's going to happen when the book get published. There are going to be people who come out against it. So there's going to have to be enough finance to market and get the book circulated to our people, because you can be sure that people are going to come out and trash the book, trash me, right? That's just how Niggazs are. And I know that from my personal experience, especially these nasty, and I'm not saying all, but many of these nasty Hebrew Israelites. I'm talking about the religious ones, y'all. Some of them are very vicious. Also, a lot of these people who are Moors, also vicious. But y'all know how it's going to go down. So I need the finance in order to do it, so that once the book is finally completed and published, it can be circulated to the people, okay? Otherwise, it would be dead in the waters, right? All right, so let's go back to it. So we're page 27. Let's keep going. Later, sophistries garbled and falsified that ancient learning. What ancient learning, y'all? The 7 Hermetic Principles. Isn't it interesting that the Great Bear is made of 7 stars and there are 7 Hermetic Principles? Right? Isn't that interesting? So it's like a reflection, right? And then those metaphorical teaching tools that were turned into mythologies. This is what the author is talking about, okay? So later, sophistries garbled and falsified that ancient learning, which primitive and simple, primitive meaning, in this case, original. And simple in science means elegant, had been founded on the laws of nature itself. See, these are the 7 Hermetic laws and the natural phenomena that we talked about. Y'all see that? So we need to restore this. So look in the description area of this video, and you can see some of the information that is going to go in the book of the law if we can get it financed properly. Do y'all see that for yourself? This is consistent with Jeremiah 8, verse 8. All right? You can pause it on the replay if you want to read all of that. Now, the author continues. Its very simplicity, its very elegance was unfathomable to later theorists. Y'all hear that? This is an admission that our understanding of nature and natural law, the physical universe, was so profound that it's unbelievable to these hybrids. That's what that sentence just said. The knowledge of astronomy and the perfection which this science attained in ancient times. Whoa, wait. The science didn't attain perfection. The science is not living. It is the Moors who attain perfection of the astrological sciences and of nature. And this, according to the author, seems beyond modern comprehension. See, Moors, this is who you are. Your thought made manifest from the soil. Man, know thyself. Our ancestors knew themselves. Y'all see that? They knew themselves. Y'all see it? So I know Darrell-El says, study yourself. And when you think that you're finished and you need something else to study, go back and study yourself some more. Until when? Until you reach this level of perfection. So you know who you is. Okay? So, now we have studied ourselves and we have found our way back to our origin. The circumpolar, celestial, North Pole. All right, the circumpolar Zodiac projection. Circle 7, clock of destiny. Everybody see it? This is the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. We've made our way back. And I'm honored and humbled to have some part in bringing this back to our people. Maybe they know this in the adept chambers. I have no idea. I have no idea what they do there, or what their knowledge. I don't know, right? But they certainly haven't shared it with us, with the common people, if they know this, right? So anyway, let's keep it going, y'all. The knowledge of astronomy and the perfection which the science attained, again, these are not people, so it is the Moors' knowledge of astronomy and the attainment of perfection achieved by the Moors. Okay, so they knew themselves, right? Because man is thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of the mind. So they knew themselves. And it was perfect. Okay? So let's go down to the next paragraph. Semitic origins show etymologically that their Kemetic derivation. Let me say it again. Semites, right? Semitic origins shows how etymologically shows rather their Kemetic derivation. The letter K of Cam was transformed into the letter S of Sam, which was the root word Semite. Okay, y'all? Don't argue with people and don't buy into this divisions and separations of our people. Those are tools of divide and conquer tactics, okay? The real deal is that it's the autochthonous Moors, and then the other party are the hybrids, okay? These divisions of nations and at odds and at wars, at war with and enmities rather between us. These are all divide and conquer strategies. Okay? That's all they are. I'm talking about what you read in the Biblio-Heliotext, in the book of the law. Okay? They're all divide and conquer strategies. So let's keep it going. The Semites were known later as the Sumerians. If y'all do the etymological work on Sumerians, you're going to see that it goes back to Moors, the excellent Moors. Okay? In fact, I might, well, do your research. SU, and then, which is a prefix, and then MERU. So we dealt with Meru on page 26. The founders of Egypt came from Meru, MERU, but of course vowels are interchangeable if you know anything about linguistics. So you can slap MORO and you get Moro, which is more, which makes it plain and simple, right? The excellent Moors. But anyway, y'all can play around with that. Let's continue. The Sumerians followed the Kamites when the race, this would be when the autochthonous Moors of Kam left its primitive or nomad habitat. That's BS. We never existed in any primitive or nomadic habitat. If that ever existed, it was as a result of the Osirians, the solar zodiac. I need to come up with the term for them. The pharaohs, okay, and later the dirty Moors. In more recent times, let's say Middle Ages, and around and during that time, or even before the Middle Ages, who destroyed our towns and cities, and people had to escape to the wilderness just to survive. Right now, that's probably a cause for it. Okay, where you do see it, but we. See, y'all, in order for them to push this evolution is the way man got to be where he is now. In other words, the hybrid, the foreign troglodyte hybrid being in power. They need this evolutionary theory, this Darwinism, in order to make that happen. Okay, and to keep you locked into this ridiculous mindset. Okay? But the fact of the matter is that we've always been civilized. Always. Always been civilized. All right? Always been civilized. Anyway, let's keep it going. Yeah, I like this point. The earliest wise men were known to come from the south. Okay, South Celestial Pole. Not south part of Egypt. South Celestial Pole. Principles. People who lived according to principles and knew how to, and understood and knew how to apply principle. That's wisdom. Okay? Not from the East. The earliest wise men were not from the East, like they tell you in dogmatic religion, in Christianity. No, that's not true. Okay? The wise men come from the East and they're following the star. No, it's not true. They come from the South. The oldest wise men come from the South. All right? And isn't it interesting how they shifted that? The wise men coming from the southern celestial pole, and then in Christianity, they shift that to the wise man comes from the east. Well, what's in the east? The East Gate. What's the East Gate? Aries, the ram, the Lamb of God. Who's the Lamb? The Lamb of God. JC, Jesus. Y'all see it? Anyway, let's keep it going. Okay, so both Cam and Sam signify black. It has nothing to do with complexion. This black has nothing to do with complexion. Don't get it twisted. All right? There was no such concept of black people at this time, right? That's a modern day political construct. Both Cam and Sam signify quote unquote black. The Semites were Camites. The Semites were Camites in a later phase of development. Y'all see that? The Semites were Camites in a later phase of development. Now, y'all should understand this is why the modern day Jewish religious people call themselves Semites, because they have taken Egypt without you knowing it. So now you know how they have taken it, right? And they don't want you to have it. They've stolen it and try to make it their own. This is their fetish or fascination with Egypt. And it's no wonder, right? Because the pharaohs are hybrids. I'm not saying every last one of them, but you go back and look at the pictures of the pharaohs, you'll see many of them are giants. They're hybrid. Y'all just go back and search it. And of course, I correlate that with Yakub. Okay? With Yakub. That would also explain why they changed the mindset through violence from the north and south celestial pole, the circumpolar zodiac, to the solar zodiac, and emphasize light as in sunlight, as in white being all things good, and black as being evil. Okay? Or in other words, let's state it differently, night and darkness being a time where evil things happen, and a time where you should be afraid. And the story they tell with this, scholars, keep this in mind. The story that they tell with this is that it's an evolutionary story. Oh, in the beginning of time, men lived out in the forest. Okay? During the day, he could see the animals, and many of the predator animals, they're sleeping during the day. And then at night, he cannot see, and it's very scary. Okay, you can get killed at night, it gets cold. So these are the stories. But then when you look up into the canopy of the heavens, you see all of these stars, and you begin to imagine. Okay? So that's one level of the story. The other part of the story is winter time. When winter comes, it's so cold. And if you didn't plow the field, if you don't have enough, whatever you sow, that you shall also reap. So if you didn't prepare, do the work that you needed to do during spring and summer to get a good harvest to last you through the winter, well, then you would suffer. If you didn't do anything, you'd have to go out robbing and stealing, okay, or hunting animals, and you might wind up being the prey instead of the predator in that situation. So they said that dark and night is evil, a scary time, wickedness. Y'all see it? Everybody see that? Hence the black and white checker, from what I understand. This is symbolized by the black and white Freemasonic checker floor. good and evil, the duality or the polarization, good and evil, black and white. Black people are bad, white people are good. Y'all see it? Y'all see that? And that's how it went down. But if you go back to page 14, and I'm not going to do it because I've done it so many times, what you're going to find out is that absolute darkness, or as the Nation of Islam say, the triple black darkness of space. Something like that, right? Is pure spirit. Okay? And darkness manifests light so that it could reveal itself. Okay? And that darkness, night, for the Egyptians, this has been translated or rendered by the hybrids as God. As God. Okay, y'all? Everybody see that? Now that one's worth showing again. This is on page 14. Second footnote. The Egyptians, the Kamites, therefore the Semites, right? Symbolically named, quote unquote, the Egyptians symbolically named, capital G-O-D, the quote unquote ancient darkness. Of this darkness, H.P. Blavatsky writes, darkness is the root of light. Light is matter. Darkness is pure spirit. Darkness, metaphorically, is absolute light. So therefore, sunlight is not absolute light. Let me say it again. Sunlight, starlight, is not absolute light. Absolute light is darkness. Darkness is the root of light. Light is matter. Darkness is pure spirit. Darkness, metaphysically, is absolute light. Light is merely a mass of shadows, as it can never be eternal. Let me say it again. Light is merely a mass of shadows, as it can never be eternal, right? Shadows move and go away, don't they, y'all? And is simply an illusion or Maya. Let me show y'all that. Okay, y'all? So do y'all see how the wool has been pulled over our heads even as we learn astrotheology? Y'all see that? Read the footnote number 2. Light is not eternal. But then again, they also tell us when you study astrotheology that they expect the sun to burn out. Hence, Christ gives his life on behalf of the people so that they might live, right? Eventually the sun will burn out, if you read between the lines. So light is not absolute. Light is not eternal. Darkness is eternal. Darkness is absolute light. Darkness is the root of light. Y'all see it? Everybody see it? So the darkness is what, y'all? The celestial ship of the north, the circumpolar zodiac projection. This is the darkness. This is the ancient darkness that these hybrids call God. That they're saying our ancestors called God ancient darkness. Well, who's ancient darkness? Well, that's you. Right? Thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of the mind. The Hermetic Law, the first Hermetic Law, Mentalism, out of which was extracted 6 other laws, right? And the law of gender, the principle of gender, is involved in the formation and reformation of everything in every kingdom, right? The plant kingdom, the let's say microorganisms. There's many. That kingdom, the bird kingdom, the aquatic kingdom, flesh and blood kingdom. Gender is in all of those, right? In its role as a former and reformer, a producer and reproducer, which is giving birth, right? So therefore, gender in that function is feminine. We're talking about energy. It's feminine law. Everybody see that? And hence, the Great Bear is formed. Okay, the Great Bear is formed, consisting of 7 stars. They're very interesting 7 Hermetic laws, right? And then from the Great Mother, the Great Bear, from the celestial North Pole, those who are fatherless present. Those who are fatherless present. Huh? They have no father. So the Great Mother is therefore considered a widow. And her sons are fatherless. How is this explained? Well, we went through that maybe 2-3 classes ago. But anyway, let's go back to where we are. Page 28, y'all. Both Cam and Sam signify black, night, darkness, absolute darkness. In other words, that which the hybrids call God, and they hid it from you. The Semites were Kemites in a later phase of development. Since Kemite names are the earliest known, it seems probable that Egypt is the missing link between the inner African origins and the rest of the world. As her myths are incalculably old, much substantiality can be written to the theory that Egypt was the place of beginnings. So here the author again is referencing as above, so below, as below, so above, right? Because the celestial North Pole is Kemet, and then the mount is the Garden of Eden, right, y'all? As above, so below, as below, so above. No country on earth is like her. This is not true according to Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben. Okay, they said that there were many Egypts, and that Egypt is only prominent because they built in stone, and so it's still around. So what Dr. Clark says is that Egypt is the flower of Nile Valley civilizations, but that's where Egypt got its knowledge from, okay? Their ancestors, okay? So let's keep it going. No country on earth is like her or situated so favorably for the study of the stars. Bounded at 30 degrees north latitude by the sea and traversed by a river which overflows its banks 3 months of every year and is dry 9 months, typical of the period of gestation. So 9 months, if you get pregnant, the baby will come out after 9 months, okay? And this is also questionable. Why is it that, I mean, 30 degrees, that spans a huge distance, right? 30 degrees, that's a huge landmass. So it can be in the Americas all the way over into Asia, right? 30 degrees, okay. But anyway, that sounds Masonic to me. 30 degrees, JC starts his ministry at 30. right? At 30 years old, okay? So anyway, let's continue. Egypt is born annually as her waters add layer after layer to her soil. Egypt is reborn yearly, okay, due to the sedimentation from the overflow of the Nile. She literally comes from herself like her great goddess Isis, okay? So this is referencing what I mentioned earlier, okay? Where does the great mother come from? Who knows? We just know that, you know, the law of gender was extracted out of the law of mentalism, okay? Or in other words, the Holy Spirit is extracted out of the Father in the solar zodiac projection. That's the remix, right? And then she has a son who is supposed to be Jesus, the Christ figure. Okay, that's where that concept comes from. Who's his father? Right, y'all? There was no sex happening. Jesus is supposed to be the product of the Holy Spirit, right? Getting married, pregnant. Okay, so anyway, let's keep going. In Egyptian mythology, typology, and symbology, the celestial is primordial. Y'all got that? So in Egyptian mythology and typology and symbology, celestial, or in other words, astronomy, astrology, is the earliest of beginnings and continually contains the clue to the terrestrial. This is the law, the Hermetic law of correspondence: as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without, as within the universe exists in the mind of the all, as within, so without. So you create the universe for yourself. Does everyone see it? As within, so without. The universe exists in the mind of the all. You create the universe from your mind. But your mind is the universe. So this is the micro and the macro. The earthly is ever but the image of the heavenly. The earthly is ever but the image of the heavenly. Okay, the Hermetic law of correspondence: as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. The universe exists in the mind of the all. Okay, and your mind creates the universe, or is the universe. Okay, y'all got that? Egypt has no Genesis. Egypt has no beginning, no Exodus. Her rootage cannot be traced back to any line. So this is paralleling or tracking back to the Great Mother, y'all. The Great Mother, okay? Her offspring is civilization. Egypt's offspring is civilization. Y'all got it? Clear? In other words, civilization comes through the autochthonous Moors. We were never uncivilized. Never uncivilized. Quote unquote, this is coming from Gerald Massey, A Book of the Beginnings, Volume 1, page 21. Divinest foresight could have found no fitter cradle for the youthful race, in other words, for the autochthonous Moors. Meru, okay? Kemites, or you can take it back to Canaanites, Moabites, etc., 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 okay? For your religious people, don't get it twisted. Try to come out of these divide and conquer strategies, these Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences, where our people are set to be enemies of each other, okay? Let's break that curse. No mere quickening birthplace for the early man, for the early mind of man, for the early mind of man. Whoa, I got news for you. The mind of man has not changed. No mouthpiece more adopted for utterance to the whole world, fruitful and fertile for man and beast. Life was easy there from the first. Y'all got that? Life was easy when we all had the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Life was easy. What that means is that you had everything you need. You didn't have to work for anything. What does that mean? It means you had an inheritance. Not only did you have it, but you had possession of it and you enjoyed it. Nobody had to struggle. They didn't deal with violence and warfare. Y'all got it? Anyway, in Egypt, the migratory instinct was fostered from most remote times. You know, the migratory instinct, he's saying that they wanted to spread out, go to different land masses. Her colonies were scattered over the world. Now, wait a minute. Who's to say that they had to start at point A and then scatter? It could be that they were at point A, point B, point C, point D, right? And they were one. And they were one. Right? Everybody had the same mindset. Oh, in other words, there was unity. Y'all see what I mean? But if you have them starting at one, that aligns with evolution, right, y'all? That's aligning with evolution. Okay, so evolution says you start here and become more complicated, more complex, right? More highly organized, and then spread out. No. See, we're not dealing with, we reject. Let me speak for myself. I reject evolution. I know it's not true. It's BS. Okay, it's BS. We got to get out of that mindset, this fantasy. Okay, no matter how much dogma, scientific dogma they give you, it's still BS. Okay, it's still a fantasy. All right. In Egypt, so her colonies were scattered over the world. I disagree strongly with that. And the four racial colors, this is absolutely nonsense. And the four racial colors, there is no such thing as race. That's a political construct. There is no such thing as colors. Black, I never saw a black man or a woman. Red, I've never seen a red man or a woman to this day. Yellow, I've never seen a yellow or a white man or woman, not even a hybrid. All blendings into the Egyptian types? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So see, y'all, they're trying to lay claim subtly. There's no such thing as a race. There's no such thing as colored people. Colors means color of law, a symbol icon, right? That's what it means. Oh, you look like a man, but you don't have the substance of a man, meaning you're not natural. You're not thought made manifest from the soil. You're made in a laboratory, right? Yakub made you and his 12 feminine co-scientists. And your God literally is the Moabite woman. Okay, y'all? So this is a bunch of garbage right here. All blending into the ancient Egyptian types and depicted on her monuments. Okay, y'all? So is that to say that all people were jet black? Absolutely not. Was it to say all people had kinky hair? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Complexions vary. Texture of hair vary. Height varies. Body type varies. This is called genetic variability. Okay? John Lavelle writes, there are many religions, but there's only one tablet called Xanax. John, can you write more about the Xanax tablet, please? I'll read it out. Once you put it, I'll read it in. I'll read the text. Everybody see that? But what we do know is the story about Yakub and his creation and what his intentions are. And y'all can get this information from C.M. Bay, Clock of Destiny, Volume 1 and 2. Okay? Also about the Christian powers. Okay, the Christian powers. You've been misled into believing that it's a religion. No, it is political. They are Christian powers. That's why the Pope had armies. Okay? Not only had, but do y'all think the Pope is sitting there defenseless? His armies may be in different institutions and alliances with, I don't know how it works, but you'd be a fool not to think that they don't have a military and military capabilities, and that these corporate nation states, companies, are not part of the Christian religion or the Christian complex, whatever you want to call it, the Christian structure. It's all the same. All one is one organization. Right? It's one organization. And maybe it's even the modern day form of the ancient, or not ancient, of the pharaonic system of government. It just has hybrid faces now. Y'all know what I'm saying? That's probably what it is. So let's keep it moving. The antiquity of Egypt is traced by both occultists. These are people who know secret knowledge, not devil stuff, y'all. And antiquarians for hundreds of thousands of years. So this is saying that they can trace history. They have traced, not can trace, they have evidence that goes back hundreds of thousands of years, pointing to the history of ancient Egypt. Okay? In the Egyptian quote-unquote Book of the Dead can be found indications of a greater knowledge of the heavens than the astronomy of today can touch. This was in 1927. And let me say this, y'all. Who's naive enough to believe that they don't lie? That universities and university researchers, professors don't lie, don't make stuff up? Who's naive enough to believe that, let's say, the United States corporation company doesn't fund research that's an outright lie? That's an outright lie. And they know it's a lie. But they do it to put a thought, a limitation, a belief in your head. In other words, they abuse the Hermetic law of gender. It's going back to the cuckoo bird. Who believes, who's naive enough to think that that doesn't happen? If you think that that the astrology or astronomy or even both, if you think all of this stuff and all of the science you learn in your textbooks and all, if you think all that stuff is true, you are very, very naive. Very, very naive. Anyway, let's keep it going. Page 29. Footnote 1. Quote, unquote. A pictorial representation is found on the tomb of Seti first. Seti, I believe, goes back to Sut, S-U-T, on the tomb of Seti first, of 4 races of people arranged in groups of 4 men each. These are the Hasai, in parentheses it says Negroes, the Hemu, men of let me say, the Hemu, H-E-M-U, men of arranged in groups of 4 men each. Oh, I'm on the wrong line. Hold on, y'all. Sorry about that. The Hemu, men of a light brown hue with blue eyes. Oh, wait a minute, y'all. According to geneticists, blue eyes came out when? About 4,000 to 6,000 years ago. Is that right, y'all? The first appearance of blue eyes, if I remember correctly. And by the way, it absolutely means nothing, because blue eyes is just recessive, right? Blue eyes are recessive. Now, did the Hanuman, did Yaqub's creation have blue eyes? Yes. Can a Moor have blue eyes? Yes. Is recessive, or if you have I don't, let me think, y'all. If you have a genetic problem, your eyes can come out blue. But anybody can have a genetic problem, right? That doesn't mean you're a different race of people. This is nonsense. Okay? That's like saying, well, you produce an enzyme that's genetically different from other people, let's say in your own race. Okay, now that may result in an illness for you, or maybe it doesn't, but that doesn't mean you're of a different race. Y'all see what I'm saying? This is nonsense. But they're trying to inject themselves into the history. Okay, y'all, but I hope he gives a year. Somebody, is my phone still out? Somebody search Seti first to see if they give a date of when he for his life. Well, I'm 1%. I'm 1%. Can someone do that? Put it in the chat. And then let's compare that to, and then y'all Google search the date when blue eyes first appeared. If I remember correctly, it was 6,000 to 8,000 years ago. Maybe even less than that. Maybe even 4,000 years ago. I'm sorry, 4,000 BCE, something like that. But anyway, let's keep it going. So there were the Hemu, H-E-M-U, men of light brown hue with blue eyes. The hair in a bag. The Tamahu, T-A-M-A-H-U, who are as fair as Europeans. That means absolutely nothing. The Years and years ago, I used to teach this. I used to demonstrate it in my class. I used to do this. I used to do a free ancient Hebrew class. All you had to do was buy the book, and you could enroll in the class. That class was a lot of fun. I miss it. I should do it again. Um, but I need someone. If I do it again, I need someone on a big platform to either have me on a big YouTube channel, to have me on their YouTube channel, or to help me market it so that I can have enough people to make it work. But anyway, one of the things I would show people, the only way you can tell a hybrid who has translucent skin, the ones who classify themselves as white, you need to do a skin biopsy. And then you can tell. Because they have a mutation. And they only have melanin in one layer of the skin. That's the only way you can tell. Otherwise, you can have someone passing as quote unquote, or connotatively speaking, white. Right? And that's not to say all hybrids have translucent skin. As some of the Hebrew Israelites will tell you, Esau is hiding within all of the races, right? Y'all know which Hebrew Israelite group that is. And I agree with them on that. Our hybrids are everywhere. You know. You got to remember when Esau came out, he was ruddy and hairy all over. Ruddy means brown. Brown like a reddish brown horse or reddish brown cow. Okay? Hairy all over like a chimpanzee. Let's keep it going. Where am I? All right, y'all. So this is nonsense. What? I don't think this image is real. But anyway, the Tamahu, who are as fair as Europeans, and I would not say fair. How about that? Fair. These are the most, in my experience, right? Well, let me not say that. The Europeans that when I domicile in Europe, Eastern and Central Europe, there were many people who were really good people. Many of them, treated me very well. But to say fair when these Christians have been anything but fair through our experience with them, they're land thieves, amongst many other things. Killers on a mass scale. Who has caused more wars than the Christians and the Muslims? Who? Okay, well you can throw the Jews in there too. Fair. Listen to see scholars, how important language is, vocabulary. Fair. It's many nuances. It's many meanings. Oh, the Europeans are fair. Oh, fair as in equity? Fair as in white Jesus? Fair as in complexion? Y'all see what I'm trying to say? This is what? Hypnotic. Hypnotic. It's happening. This is working at the subconscious level. All right? This is what? Magic. Magic. The power of the pen, Hollywood. Okay? Making up words. All right? How about who are as Murders as the Europeans, and let's call it like that, okay? That represents translucent skin. And the Rut, R-U-T, who are Egyptians. See Massey Gerald, A Book of the Beginnings, Volume 1, page 27. The color of the skin does not depend on climatic conditions. Now, I agree with that 100%. These modify but do not create it. I agree with that 100%. That whole thing about man coming up into Europe and it's cold and, living in caves, and he had to get rid of his melanin so that he could absorb more sunlight, so that he could produce more vitamin D. That's all BS, y'all. That's all BS. All BS. The real deal is the Jacobian animalistic experiments. Okay, you can read about it in CM Bay's Clock of Destiny. Next paragraph, page 29, quote unquote, Egypt below was but a replica of, quote unquote, Egypt above. Her myths and fables founded on her astronomies have been so misunderstood by many interpreters, so torn to bits in attempts to make history out of myths. What are these histories, y'all? These are those 16 or 15 or 16 solar religions and their solar deities, that their identity is at times barely recognizable. Her ancient truths trace back to their Sabian origins. Sabian Moors, Sabbath. Her ancient truths trace back to their Sabian origins. Sabian, y'all, when you hear Sabian, Saba, this goes back to the celestial ship of the north, the circumpolar zodiac projection. Saba Moors. That's the ancient mindset, or that's the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, which was destroyed through violence and intimidation, through public policy, through judgment, so therefore the courts and public policy, right? Targeted at a specific group. Who's a specific group? The Saba Moors, who followed the principles of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, right? So that would be what? Bills of attainder and bills of pains and sufferings. And they were escheated. They were attained, hit with attainders. Birthright taken. No due process of law. Thank you. Convicted, judged, sentenced, very likely sentenced to death. Civil and physical. Same stuff they're doing to us right now. These are those who ushered in through violence, through violent public policy. We have it today now, right, y'all? The black codes. And this happens all over the world. I don't care what country I go to, y'all. When you see people who have a complexion like me, guess where they are? At the bottom. And somebody's got their foot on their neck. Okay, I don't care what country I've gone to, and I've traveled. I've traveled. But that's what you see. Okay? Black codes. In other words, birthright theft of the Moors. That's all it is, birthright theft of the Moors. Or the curses. Deuteronomy 28, the curses. Okay, y'all? Let's keep it going. Egypt. Her ancient truths trace back to their Sabian origins. Her ancient truths trace back to the celestial ship of the north, the circumpolar zodiac projection, which is what, y'all? The 7 Hermetic laws or principles and natural phenomena. Natural law, natural phenomena, common law. Common law. Natural phenomena. Nature. The 7 Hermetic Principles. In other words, self. Self. Knowledge of self. All right? So these ancient truths that we just discussed find their verification in, quote unquote, the Egypt that never dies. And I have to find this. Where is it at? Hold on. What page is that, y'all? Where the author talks about the Moors who always look to the north, right? And who part of their mindset was what, y'all? The mindset was transformation. In other words, rebirths. Let me see where that's at. Let me start here because I don't know where it's at. But let me start here. Page 23, last paragraph. Before I do that, I need to show this. Hold on. I need to show this. Give me 1 second. Go back to page 29. This is the paragraph that I was reading from. Y'all take a look at that. Pause it on the replay. I'll hold it here for a minute for y'all to read through it. This paragraph here. Okay, y'all, pause it on the replay, okay? I think I need to show this. Here we are. Page 27. I'm going to start on page 26, last paragraph. Tradition also claims that Ethiopia was the home of the Egyptians. No, Ethiopia and Kemet, these were all the same empire, same people. The founders of Egypt came from Meru, M-E-R-U, which is Moors. Y'all can Google search Meru and Moors. I found a very interesting article or book. I may take some screenshots and post it on this topic. But he's selling the books on Amazon, so you can get them if you want them. So Meru, M-E-R-U. Of course, the vowels are interchangeable, so just throw an O in there, you get Moro. Everybody knows that Moro means more, right? A word, Meru, a word which signifies the inhabitants of the mount at the north. We've learned that the mount at the north celestial pole is the Garden of Eden. Quote unquote, the birthplace, the outlet. See, the birthplace, the place of what? formations, reformations, productions, reproductions, in other words, transformations, okay? The outlet. In Hebrew writings, Zaba, Z-A-B-A, Zaba, Saba, Saba Moors, Saba Sabbath, land of the Zabians with a Z, land of the Sabians, exchange the Z for a S, Ethiopia and Cush, right? So that those are homophones. Ethiopia and Cush are names of the same country. Names of, wait. We're not dealing with countries. We're dealing with nations, bloodlines attached to a specific landmass, sharing a common culture, common heritage, common customs, blah, 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 right? The quote-unquote Egypt beyond Egypt. The Egypt beyond Egypt, as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. Quote unquote, Zaba, the firstborn son of Cush, is mentioned with Cush and Mitzrayim. The inhabitants of Meru, M-E-R-U, change the vowels, replace them, M-O-R-O, Moro, Moors. The inhabitants of the Moors, the inhabitants of Meru, were the quote-unquote Zabians, hence the Zabian or Sabian Moors, from the wilderness. It is to be remembered that there is a wilderness above in the heavens as well as a wilderness below on earth. So again, the Hermetic law of correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above. Okay, y'all? Now here's what I want to get to. Is this it? Hold on. Did I lose my place, y'all? Hold on. The name Cam means to create, which would be to form, right? Because nothing is ever created. Things are formed and reformed or transformed from one thing into another, okay? The name Cam means to transform, and also black. And also black. Hence black, y'all. Absolute darkness means transformation. Okay? Hence, Cam signifying the home of the black race. Let's restate that. Hence, Cam signifying the home of the autochthonous Moors as well as the divine Moors. As above, so below. As below, so above. As within, so without. Okay? It ends the sentence with the Ethiopians. Okay, so the Ethiopians are Moors also, of course. Mythologically, this race, let's correct that. Mythologically, the Moors came from Kephesh, the constellation in the northern heavens called the Thigh. This is the circumpolar zodiac, the Great Bear, today the Big Dipper, right? Signifying Typhoon, the Great Mother, who is Hathor, the Great Mother Nature, mother of the human race? No. Mother of the Moors. The husbandless mother, therefore a widow of the Moors, who are therefore fatherless. Okay, signifying Typhoon, the Great Typhoon, mother of the Moors, to the people who looked to the north. That's what I was looking for. To the people who looked to the north as the ideal place for primitive parentage. What do you look for parents for? Love and protection. This is what parents provide. They provide you with love and protection. The great typhoon, mother of the Moors, the autochthonous Moors, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. The Moors, the people who look to the north, the people who look to the circumpolar zodiac projection as the ideal place for primitive or for original parentage and birthplace of the world. This is the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, and the 5 principles are the southern celestial pole. So if our ancient ancestors looked to the north celestial pole, it only makes sense that we are to look to the north celestial pole. In other words, we're to have the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. They looked to the north celestial pole. Their mindset was the north celestial pole. That's where they looked for parentage, for guidance. Who gives you the law? Who gives you the instructions? Your parents. So the instructions are at the north celestial pole. That's the only way you're going to follow the Most High's commandments, as we would say in the book of the law. So if our ancestors looked to the north celestial pole, their mindset was the north celestial pole. Their feet were in the south celestial pole, standing on principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And here we are, as Moors, with our head in Aries, either in Aries in religious, dogmatic religion, religious doctrine, Christianity, Islam, right? Some of us are Hebrew Israelites. And then others of us are Moors, and our heads are in the celestial zodiac projection. Okay? So the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers means that you need to shift and put your head in the circumpolar zodiac projection, because this is where our ancestors, the Sabian Moors, looked to as the ideal place for primitive parentage. Y'all, what is the denotative or the etymological meaning of law? It's the instructions that are passed down through the generations to you, and that you are obligated to follow, to keep those instructions, those principles. And if you do not, you're out of harmony with nature. You're breaking the Most High's commandments, and you become non-descendable because you disrespect your ancient foremothers and forefathers. Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. You become non-descendable. You lose your birthright, which includes your nationality, which means you become a stateless person, a refugee in your own land. Okay, y'all? So let me show it. Y'all, do me a favor, pass this on, especially I don't know how receptive any religious people would be to this, but to the Moors, y'all pass this on, share it with the Moors, okay? I'm not sure if the Christians and Hebrew Israelites would be receptive to this. But do y'all see where it says, our people look to the north? This is the mindset. This is the zodiac projection that we are to look to. The north circumpolar zodiac projection. Y'all see it? You want to, I don't know if you want to see my margin notes, but I'll make it available to you if y'all want to look. You can take a screenshot if you, for some reason, want to see my margin notes. All right. Here it is. Y'all read that and then pause it on the replay, okay? All right. There we have it. Page 27. I have to keep note of that, so when I want to go back to it again. In fact, you know what? I got to go into CMB Volume 2, page 38 now, y'all. This is it needs to be done. If you've heard this before, please be patient. But I have to do this. Volume 2, Clock of Destiny, Volume 2. See my book, this book got wet. It's one of the difficult things about, and it totally destroys, oh man. Oh well. Page 38. It's the one thing I don't like about being in Asia, but I don't want to deal with winter, so I accept it. As much as I don't like it. The rainy season is terrible, especially when you have to travel long distances to, to go to places that you need to go. All right, y'all, so here we are. Let me show you what this book. So this is Clock of Destiny by C.M. Bay, Volume 2. Okay, y'all, you can get this very easily and quickly off of enforcetheconstitution.org. All right. All the study material that you need is on enforcetheconstitution.org. And it's authentic and it's easy to get, easy to find. It's not going to take you an hour to figure out where everything is, So this is the author, C.M. Bay, who received his training from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Okay, y'all? That's the author. C.M. Bay, Ph.D., LLD, 3rd, 33rd, 360 degree Master Mason, Free Moorish, Master Astrologer, and Moorish Constitution Law Giver. Okay, so let's go to page 38. And let's make the connection, okay? Let's make the connection. Food for initiated Masons. 3rd, 32nd, 33rd, and 360 degrees. So here's the paragraph I'm going to read from. Y'all make sure y'all pause this on the replay. Go to enforcetheconstitution.org, download all of the study materials, print them out the same way I did. Okay, so you'll have them available to you. So y'all take a look at that, and then I'm going to go through it, okay? All right, y'all see it? Okay, now remember, let me set this up. So in our textbook, The Celestial Ship of the North by E. Valencia Straighton, page 27, the first paragraph, the quote-unquote cam means to create. Well, we dealt with that earlier. It actually is to form, reform, transform, and also quote-unquote black. Not black in science, black, celestial, absence of light. Hence, cam signifies the home of the black race. No, the home of the autochthonous Moors, the Ethiopians. Mythologically, the Moors, it says here this race, but I'm correcting it. The Moors came from Kefesh. This is the Garden of Eden, the constellation in the northern heavens called the quote-unquote Thigh. This is the Great Bear. Today it's called the Big Dipper, signifying Typhoon. Typhoon, the Great Mother Nature. Hathor, Typhoon, the mother of the human race. No, human is a contracted form of Han-Uman. The Neanderthal, the Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, genetic, animalistic experimentation product of Yaqub and his 12 feminine scientists. So this is actually the Moors, the autochthonous Moors. Typhoon, the mother of the autochthonous Moors. Okay? Signifying Typhoon, mother of the autochthonous Moors, the people who looked to the north as the ideal place for primitive parentage. Parents give instruction, that is law. Law means Torah for you Hebrew Israelites and Christians who looked to the north for primitive, for the original instructions. They look to the north, which is the birthplace of all. As above, so below. As below, so above. Now let's get into this, okay? Clock of Destiny, Volume 2, page 38. This is how it reads. The sons, the Moors, the autochthonous Moors, the sons of a widow woman, this would be Typhoon, the Great Mother, Typhoon, the Thigh, are the only supreme beings, the Elohim, the connotatively speaking gods, the ones who are fatherless, sons of a widow, of whom can stand in the form of a cross, a five-pointed star, and in a straight line, whether standing erect or lying down. When sons are lying asleep, Civiliter mortuus, civilly dead, they are lying on a dead level. And when standing erect, they, sons, the autochthonous Moors, are perpendicular at right angle of 90 degrees of their previous position on a dead level. When sons, when Moors stand erect, their head represents the North Pole. Their head represents the North Pole, which is a circumpolar zodiac projection. Mount Zion, Mount Mortuus at the north celestial pole. The birthplace, the outlet, In Hebrew writings, Zaba, land of the Zabians, Ethiopia and Cush are the names of the same country. The Egypt beyond Egypt, Zaba, Saba, the firstborn son of Cush, is mentioned with Cush and Mitzrayim. The inhabitants of Meru, the Moors, were quote-unquote Sabians from the wilderness. It is well to remember that there is a wilderness above in the heavens as well as a wilderness below on earth, as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. The Thai, signifying typhoon, mother of the Moors, the people who looked to the north. When suns stand erect, their head represents the north celestial pole, and their feet represents the south pole, the south celestial pole. When lying on a dead level, their head represents the east. When lying on a dead level, the Moors, the autochthonous Moors' head represents the east gate. The east gate is Aries, the Lamb of God. The east gate is Aries, the Lamb. Page 24 of our textbook. It was the Egyptian Osirians who cast out and condemned the ancient typhoon, the great mother of the Moors, and who changed the star god into Sevik Ra, the sun god. They then replaced Sevik Ra's head, or placed upon Sevik Ra's head, a pair, that means two horns. And Sevik Ra became the ram or lamb, symbolized in the zodiacal sign Aries. And when the sun sun passed into Aries, Aries became typical of the change from one pole star to another. So here the author is acknowledging that the pole stars changed. Whether they do or don't, who's been around long enough to know? This is speculation. Let's say they do change. Well, we've been here. The universe has been in existence for billions, trillions, and uncountable and undeterminable span of time. And the way we kept time, Circle 7 and Clock of Destiny, has always been accurate. Has always been accurate, okay? Has always been accurate. Let me say this. The biblical account, I'm in the same paragraph at the top, page 27. The biblical account of the war in heaven is explained astronomically. When Typhon and Soot, or the northern constellation of the Great Bear, and the glowing dog star in the south, see, there's our clock of destiny, right? The hour hand, the minute hand, and the hour hand. When, let me say it again, or the northern constellation of the Bear and the glowing dog star in the south proved false in their time reckoning, causing their own degradation, their own downfall. This was brought about by the change in Earth's axis, which gradually pointed to what, y'all? To another star, to another pole star, other than the one which it had been revolving. So this ain't nothing new. According to the author, the change in the pole star is nothing new. It's just an alibi, an excuse. Okay? An excuse. That's all it is, to destroy us. Okay? So let's continue. Where are we? Right? Okay, so when the sun sun passed into Aries, Aries became typical of the change from one pole star to another. So in other words, we're talking about what? A zodiacal age, going from Aries through each of the zodiac ages. They last about 2,600 years or so, if I remember correctly. So you get a great year. Okay? So that was replaced, or that replaced the change of one pole star to another. I don't know how many years that takes. I don't know. I don't know what that's even called. Okay, so pole star here. There's revolution. Is it 25,000 years? I don't know. 100,000, a million, 10 million. I don't know. How long does it take for the pole stars to change? I have no idea. But it didn't affect the accuracy of our timekeeping until the Osirians came around and said, wait a minute, y'all ain't keeping time right. Okay, we're going to change this up. We're going to keep track of time by the SUN sun. But again, who's the SUN sun? The SUN sun is me and you. Y'all see what I'm saying? As I mentioned earlier, the Mazarats, okay, the Mazarat and the 12 zodiac signs. But of course, at that time, there were not 12. Other zodiac signs were added into it. And when the sun enters into one zodiac sign, it fully and completely takes on the characteristics and attributes of that zodiac sign, of each zodiac sign. Okay, so hence this is where you get the 12 labors of Hercules. Okay, Jesus and his ministry, how he went from city to city, house to house. Okay, y'all? So they switched that up. They switched that up. Y'all see it? Switched it up. Thus casting out of the old mother, thus casting the great typhoon out, thus casting out circle 7, thus casting out the clock of destiny. Thus casting out of the old mother, this casting out of the old mother took place when theology turned many of these ancient myths into religious history. Religious chaos resulted, y'all. This was around 4,000, 4,500 BCE, according to their story. Okay? But we know that the culprit, the villain, is the Osirians. And we know that Trinity, don't we? Osiris, Isis, and Horus. The origin of all of the solar religions. Okay, y'all? Religious chaos resulted, and the past was almost lost in obscurity. Let's go back to C.M. Bay, page 35. Let's continue. When suns stand erect, their head represents the North Pole, and their feet represents the South Pole. Again, y'all, the South Pole are the principles. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, the highest principles in the universe. When lying on a dead level, their head represents the East. Again, what's in the East? Aries. And it was the Osirians, the worshipers of Osiris, who brought in, through violence, the solar zodiac projection. They changed the star god into Savick Ra, the sun god. Then they placed upon his head a pair of horns, and he became the ram or lamb. Savick Ra became the ram or lamb in the zodiac sign Aries. Okay, y'all? When lying on a dead level, the Moor's head represents east, the east gate, Aries. And the Moor's feet represents west, the west. The west would be what, y'all? The west gate, Libra, the scales of justice. Okay, so now we're squarely in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. We are in the curses. The Moor is receiving corrective punishments. In other words, corrective communication. Okay? Punishments, pain. He's on Skid Row. These two positions of sons of Moors form the universal cross, which represents latitude north and south and longitude east and west. This fact makes the great mother Typhoon and sons Moors the great I am in life. And y'all know that the tetragrammaton YHWH initially, y'all, was feminine, which is why the Jews say you cannot pronounce the tetragrammaton's name to hide that fact. This is why they call their deity Adonai, blah, 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 right? You can go read this in Strong's Hebrew 3068. This fact makes the great Typhoon, the thigh, and sons, Moors, the great I am in life. Creation, so let's correct that. Formations, reformations, transformations, and perfection. Unfortunately, this author says that I guess the hybrids, or maybe in the secret societies, they're saying that the originals were created imperfect. It has to be that way for evolution, right? And then perfection came from the imperfect. But see, you see here, C and Bay is correcting that madness, that fallacy. In other words, the foundation of geometry. Sons can also stand in the form of a cross with their arms extended from each side. They can also stand in the form of a five-pointed star with their feet far apart. Their head, number 1, their right arm, point number 2, their left arm, number 3, their right foot, number 4, and their left foot, number 5. Thus, sons represents the 5 great principles of woman's universal supreme perfections in the course of 9 months. Okay, y'all? Hold on, there's something else I want to share with y'all. Give me 1 second. So let me go through this. I haven't done this one yet. I'm not going to go into detail. I just want to put it on the record here, okay? So this is also page 38, next paragraph. The 6-pointed star of the Moorish nation, referred to as the quote-unquote Jewish Star of David. And of course, there is no Star of David, right, y'all? That's why he has it in quotations. Okay, it's a hijack. So here it is, y'all. Here it is. The first triangle represents the north gate, the summer season. The summer season. The second represents the south gate, the winter season. These two triangles together form a six-pointed star, summer and winter, or north and south. All there is, as above, so below, or the two tables, the two tables of stone. You talk about the law, right? The law was written on two tablets of stone, two tables of stone. But guess what, y'all? When you start talking about Thoth, the deity Thoth, from which we get our word thought, and Thoth is said to have written 40,000 volumes of law or something like that. Okay, he's a messenger from the gods. Man is thought made manifest from the soil. The lawgiver. Know who you are. Know who you are. Okay, so let's go back to where we left off. All right. So we're going to go back to page 29. Her, that is the great mother, Typhoon, her ancient truths can be traced back to their Sabian origins. Okay, circumpolar zodiac, we just read that. Okay, the Moor is standing erect, his head is the North Pole, his feet are the South Pole. Find their verification in the quote-unquote, the Egypt that never dies. Oh, absolutely. Why? Because in the North, this is where the formations and reformations, the transformations. Okay? In fact, there's a paragraph that talks about what we believed in, and which was a strong belief in rebirth. A strong belief in rebirth, or in other words, coming back, right? You are eternal, Moors. You are eternal. If I can find it. Page 23. The divine Pymander, it is said, quote unquote, this is the mystery that to this day is hidden and kept secret. It's occult. The nature being mingled. The nature, capital N, the nature being mingled with man, brought forth a wonder most wonderful. For he having the nature, capital N, for he having the nature of the harmony of the seven. The seven what, y'all? Well, the seven great stars, right? The seven stars of the Great Bear. What else is seven? Well, of course, the seven Hermetic Laws, right? He having the nature of the harmony of the seven. That's a mindset, right, y'all? Harmony. Having the nature of the harmony. The Moor standing on his own 2 feet, standing erect, has the nature of the harmony of the seven. From him whom I told thee, the fire and the spirit. Nature continued not, but forthwith brought forth 7 men, sons, all males and females. See, some sons, S-O-N, S-U-N, have a womb. Other S-U-Ns don't have a womb. Masculine and feminine, men and women. Okay? All males and females, all sublime, all sublime. Know who you are more. You are sublime when you are not laying down with your head in the east, with your head in Aries, in the Lamb of God, in religion, or your head in the solar zodiac projection. Okay, all are males, all are masculine, all are feminine, all are sublime or on high. Yeah, you're on high. What's higher than the northern celestial pole? According to the nature of the seven governors, the nature of the seven governors. Well, the bays are governors, right? Is that correct? And these were the seven that finally became planetary, but primarily were the seven stars, the constellation of the Great Bear. Y'all heard? That's still not what I'm looking for, though. I want to make this connection. Give me 1 second, y'all. So let's go back to this notion of evolution. This is on page 22. The two northern constellations of the bears, that would be today the Big and the Little Dipper, called the primal pair, became humanized as the parents of our race and were placed in the Garden of Eden, called the Mount, in which stood the tree or the pole. Oh, y'all, so the tree in the Garden of Eden was called a pole initially. The fall was introduced when the earlier stars as timekeepers were found not to be keeping correct time. This is going to page 24, right? Y'all remember that? Page 24? Okay. The war in heaven is explained astronomically when Typhoon and Sut, or the northern constellation of the bear. Okay, so the big and little bear and the glowing dog star in the south prove false in their timekeeping, in their time reckoning. Okay, so let's go back to page 23. So they were called laggards. The imperfect creations preceded the perfect. But yet here C.M. Bay tells us what, y'all? On page 38, where we just read from, Clock of Destiny, Volume 2, page 38, he says what? Thus sons represent the five great principles of woman's universal supreme perfections in the course of 9 months. Okay? And when we go back to the paragraph above that, this fact makes woman, the great typhoon, the seven stars, the great bears, and sons, those seven stars, the Moors, the great I am in life, the great I am. Formers, reformers, transformers, producers, reproducers. Okay? Correlate to Exodus chapter 3. The great I am in life. See, I am. And I'm literally whatever I say I am, aren't I? Today they call it manifesting. But for those of us who know better, we know how to use that. We go into the workshop of our mind, right? And then that's when we do our, how can I say, this is our quote unquote God faculty. This is where we perform, or we do the imagination work to produce our desired reality, instead of having that continuously or continuing to have that hijacked, okay, taken away from us and performed by our enemies, using or abusing, weaponizing the law of gender against us, the cuckoo bird's egg phenomenon. But anyway, let me continue here. This fact makes woman and sons the great I am in life, creation or formations, transformations, right? And perfection. And perfection. But this is common sense if you use your critical thinking faculty, right? It's common sense. This don't make sense. The imperfect creations preceded the perfect. The earlier attempts at time reckoning by the stars had failed. That's on its face nonsense. On its face nonsense. How did it fail? It's been around for all the time that has ever existed. Right? And you mean to tell me all of a sudden Sevic Rot, well, the Osirians, I think this happened sometime around Pharaoh Menes. All of a sudden, the universe breaks down. No, the universe is is precise. It don't change. Okay? So no, the time was kept perfectly. They just use that as an excuse, or the Osirians use that as an excuse. Yaqub and his boys use that as an excuse. In other words, they use what? These made-up notions of religion to manipulate the minds of the people, to participate in their own downfall, in their own destruction, in their own loss of birthright. This reminds me so much, y'all, of the story of Joseph and Pharaoh. And even still, the story in the book of the law of Moses leading the people into the Zodiac age Aries. Y'all see? Very problematic. What do we do with that? What do we do with it? This is why we need the project to correct the book of the law. We got to search these things out. Noble Drew Ali said, and I agree with them a 1,000,000%, in order to change the people, which would mean, see, you can only change someone by changing their mindset, right? In order to change the people, you need to change your literature. So get rid of the book of the law that's been Jeremiah 8 verse 8 out. Jeremiah 8 out. Right? Let's correct it. And then we can change the mindset of the people. Right? Okay, so let's keep it moving. Page 29. Primitive human customs. So y'all, when you see primitive, think autochthonous Moors, original people. Okay? The heirs of the planet. When you see human, think Han Uman. Okay? And then after that, you have to go by context. So primitive man, primitive Moors customs were interpreted and preserved in her mythology of the heavens. There's the customs. Customs, the culture is in astrology. Let me read it again. Primitive human customs, the autochthonous Moors' customs, were interpreted and preserved in her mythology of the heavens. The mythology comes from what, y'all? The metaphors that our ancestors created to teach astrology / astronomy, Hermetic laws, and natural law phenomena. Y'all see it? Culture is in the stars and were carved deep in the hieroglyphic symbols of her imperishable monuments, all held sacred and divine. Not a sacred as in worshiping religion, as coming direct from God. Well, y'all, who is, scholars, who is God? According to what we got, was it page 14? According to the ancient Kemetic people, our ancestors, who? Ancient darkness. Page 14, second footnote. The Egyptians symbolically named, capital God, the quote-unquote ancient darkness. Y'all see it? Read the footnote. Symbolically named God, the ancient darkness. Our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, symbolically named God ancient darkness. But what do we read? What do we read at Hebrews number 1180 in the Strong's Lexicon? What do we read, y'all? What do we read? Baali is a symbolical name for Jehovah. And Jehovah is their God. Yahweh, Yahuwah, every variation of it. Baali is a symbolical name of Jehovah. But of course, Baal is the sun, the S-U-N sun. And the S-U-N sun is Jehovah, the tetragrammaton. But what's the tetragrammaton? Well, tetra, four. Tetra means four. Gramma, tetragramma, 4 letters. The 4 letters, tetragramma, aton, A-T-O-N. A-T-O-N. Tetra, the 4 letters, tetragramma, Aten, the 4 letters of Aten. Y'all see it? The Egyptian sun god. Aten, Aton, Atom. You put any vowel in there you want to between the T and the M, is still the tetragrammaton. Okay, the 4 letters of the sun god. But that's not what I'm looking for. There's something else I want to show y'all about the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, which is really what I had in mind when I came here this morning. Where is it? Oh, let me give it to you now. So not that, page 11. Jehovah, so the tetragrammaton, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahu, who at first was considered female, was also represented as a type of animal. And by the rabbins, by the rabbi, was known by the mystical name of 4 letters. J-H, V-H, of course, that can be Y-H-V-H, okay? Their tetragrammaton. The portrayal of a woman, and then it goes on. Let me show y'all. Y'all see that? Oops. Okay, so this Jehovah deity, Yahweh, was initially a woman. Okay, actually it was a remix of the Great Mother Typhoon. Page 14. In that far off beginning, everything was Sabian, i.e., belonging to the stars. It was only later when the Sabian, open and close parentheses, star, Sabian, star, it was only later when the Sabian, open close parentheses, star, and the lunar moon periods had made way, had been replaced through violence and public policy, right? For the solar, open close parenthesis, sun periods. In that far off beginning, everything was Sabian. Everything was based on the stars at the north and south celestial poles, i.e., belonging to the stars. It was only later when the Sabian / star and the lunar moon periods, this would be the circumpolar zodiac projection period. So our way of life, our mindset, okay, had made way, had been replaced by or replaced through violence and public policy by the solar zodiac projection, by the solar, open close parenthesis, SUN sun periods, that a male element appears and introduces the male and female as separate deities. For in the beginning, all was considered in double aspect, male and female. By Jung, what is it saying? This is the great law, or the Hermetic law of gender. At the extreme opposite end of one pole is masculine energy or positive energy. And at the opposite extreme, it's what, y'all? Feminine energy or negative energy or anode and cathode. Okay? By Jung. A fleshly man has more or a predominance of masculine energy. A feminine or a feminine woman, a man with a womb, has a predominance or more feminine energy. Okay, a celestial entity can have a predominance or more masculine energy. But it's all there, right? It's just like hot and cold. Okay, anyway, let's continue. I want to get to what I really wanted to show y'all today. Okay, page 15, I got to show this. When at the advent of the solar period, in other words, the solar zodiac projection, when they brought in the solar zodiac projection, the worship of the fatherhood in heaven became established. So those of you who are Moors and you understand the matriarchy, how can you now support a solar zodiac projection? Because those who brought in the solar zodiac projection, they brought it in through violence, through violent public policy, and they established worship of fatherhood. In other words, the patriarchal system. They brought in the worship of fatherhood in heaven. When at the advent of the solar period, when at the advent of the solar zodiac projection, the worship of the fatherhood in heaven became established, then time was reckoned by the sun instead of, as formerly, by the stars and the moon, instead of, as formerly, by the circumpolar zodiac projection. A tomb, which is a ton, which is what, y'all? Tetragrammaton. A tomb in Egypt, here in Syria, and Abraham in Israel, remember Abraham goes back to Aries, became the father of the gods. And the child of the mother, who is Sut, y'all, right, became known as the S-O-N, the son of the father. Y'all see that? So instead of having the law of gender with masculine and feminine, or negative and positive, or anode and cation represented as it truly is, they separated it. Okay? Now you have the masculine and the feminine, and they're separate. Separate deities. Y'all see the remix? This individualization of the Father, whom the people then enthroned above the ancient mother, above Typhon, was acclaimed with great rejoicing. They were happy. They said, okay, we got him now. We got him now, because they don't even much know who they is. Okay, instead of looking to themselves, instead of going into the workshop of their mind to create reality to get them out of their problems that they made for us, right? And of course, when I say they, I'm talking about the dirty Moors. Okay, in cahoots or in collusion. Well, I really can't say collusion, right? Because Yaqub created the hybrids. They're just doing what they're supposed to do, right? They were happy what they did. And they said, we're going to keep them in this mindset, this state of mind, this mindset where they're praying to these external gods. And if they ever think that they woke up, they might get as far as acknowledging the sun sun. They never expected us to be able to make our way back to the circumpolar zodiac projection. They never thought we would find or rediscover the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. But thankfully, men like Noble Drew Ali and C.M. Bay gave us this information. Otherwise, we would not have it. This is Clock of Destiny, Volume 2, again, page 38. This is the key right here. This paragraph right here, this is the key. That's what opened my eyes and made me see it. All right. Okay, y'all, let me show you. This is on page 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 is perfection. Okay, 6 is perfection. Page 15, look at that. 6, amongst other things, is perfection. Okay, y'all? Read the paragraph. Pause it on the replay. Y'all see this. And share this, okay? If you are kind-hearted, share it. If you appreciate my work, share it. Okay, the best way to help yourself is by helping other people. I think most people are mature enough to do it. To know it, rather. But you may not be able to do it because of your conditioning. So break the cycle and share this, all right? Read that paragraph. Okay, so the followers of Osiris and these secret society members to this day support the patriarchal system. There may be many sincere Moors who don't know this information. But now that you know it, how can you really support the solar zodiac projection, which is a zodiac that everybody is familiar with today? How can you support that? Okay, so you need to return to the state of mind of your ancient foremothers and forefathers. You need to return to the circumpolar zodiac projection. Honor your ancient foremothers and forefathers so that it may go well for you in the land that I am giving you. This is the inheritance, the estate. Okay? So this is the common law. This is the natural law. Okay? This is the constitutional law. And if you don't follow that, you are in dishonor. Okay? You are in dishonor and you are non-descendable. You're out of harmony with nature. I hope everyone sees that. Y'all don't have nothing to say? Put something in the comments. What you scared of? Hold on, y'all. There's something else I need to show you. This book is just so phenomenal. I can just look at on this page, there's so much stuff. I kind of want to read the next paragraph. Well, it's related to what we talked about, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. Page 15. The seventh day, Saturday, was always the day of Sut, S-U-T. Saturn. Remember, Sut becomes Saturn. But when Sut, S-U-T, of Sabian origin, was turned into a solar god. Y'all see that? When Sut was turned into a solar god, that would be Sevik Ra. when Soot was turned into a solar god. So he's talking about the solar zodiac projection, our downfall. But when Soot was turned into a solar god, right, the star god, right, remember that? Was turned into the sun god, Sevek Ra. His Soot's day became Sunday. Oh, wait a minute. The day of the sun. Well, there's a footnote. The secular church was founded by Constantinian, who set aside the day of the Escheat and sun, which is Sunday, for the worship of Jesus. Oh, this is evidence that this stuff happened more recently. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Now he continues. Wasn't it the Catholic Church who changed the Sabbath to Sunday, y'all? In this solar form, Soot became known as Sevek Ra. Y'all see that? Whom the Osirians destroyed. Our people who were living according to our ancient principles passed down to us as instructions. Okay, from our ancient foremothers and forefathers, the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Y'all see it? We look to the north, celestial pole region, for beginnings, transformations, for origins, for formations, reformations. Y'all see that? And our feet stand squarely. In other words, we're always in honor. Stand squarely in the principles. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Y'all see it? Everybody see it? In this solar form, Soot, S-U-T, became known as Sevek Ra, the Lamb of the 13th dynasty. So when did our downfall take place? Complete downfall take place in the 13th dynasty. The 13th Pharaonic dynasty is when they ushered in through violence and violent public policy, birthright theft, the whole 9 yards. When we got taken out of our mindset, the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, and we were put in the mindset of the solar zodiac projection and religion. Solar deity religion. This happened in the 13th dynasty. Isn't that very interesting? The 13th dynasty. 13 is supposed to be an unlucky number, right, y'all? But 13 means what, y'all? Perfect rulership. Jesus and his 12 apostles, the Escheat son, and the 12 zodiac signs. Perfect rulership. Our Father, what is it? Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 and 10, something like that. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Let your kingdom come. Hallowed, holy, bright, glorified be thy name. What's the name? Tetragramma Aton. Aton is the Escheat son. Our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Well, absolutely. Why? Because the sun is bright. The sun is glorious. And what's the name? Aton. A-T-O-N. 4 letters. Y'all see it? Let your kingdom come. The kingdom, when you do the etymology on this, goes back to animals. Goes back to the zodiac, the 12 constellations. In other words, perfect rulership. Why? Because the universe is precise, precision. Everything works by law. Yes. Is it closing time?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, really?
Yes, sir.
Shoot. Can you book a Grab for me? Can you book a Grab for me? My battery.
Okay.
Hold on. I think my battery is out. Yeah, my battery is out. Can you book a Grab for me? Yeah. They close in 10 minutes. I didn't realize. What time is it?
20.
Okay. All right. You have a pen? All right. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Hold on, y'all. Hey, yo, can you help me out with the, okay, thank you. Where's the, hold on. Oh, here it is. No, I got it right now. Oh, okay. Shit. You have B?
B, yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
B. No.
No B?
B.
Hold on, y'all. The taxi is expensive. The prices are going up. Do you have B?
Wait a minute.
Okay. If y'all want to support my work, feel free to, so I don't have to always pay for the taxi out of my own pocket. And if you want to buy me a coffee, help me with the cost. If you find my work to be valuable, feel free to do so, y'all. I got links in the description area if y'all want to send some finance to buy me a coffee or pay my taxi. I would appreciate that. So let's see. Peace. Brother, you are correct. At this point, it really doesn't matter. We need to share. If you're considered crazy, as I probably am, after sharing, the responsibility for wisdom falls on them. Thank you so much. Let me see. That's radicals. Radicals. Islam. Thank you so much, radicals. It's okay. I just pay it. Just let me book it.
Okay.
Yeah. I travel by taxi, y'all, because I don't want to drive here. They drive so crazy. I don't know if y'all ever been to Asia, but they don't have traffic rules. But they grew up here, so it's no problem for them. But I mean, literally, they're literally. I mean, people will. They just. So I don't drive here.
Này, hỏi.
Yeah. But anyway, y'all can donate on Patreon. Just go to Patreon, Google Patreon, and then search Zion Law School, and you can donate there. Or you can go to our website, zionlawschool.org. You can donate there, or you can donate. I don't know if the PayPal is working or not, but you can try PayPal. Last I heard, it was not working. You can't. They disabled it. This is B? Okay, cool. Thanks. Go. All right. I guess that's all right. It's two all right. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Yeah, that's one. No. It's 2 months.
Wait a minute.
The pickup location. Can I do it? Thanks. I don't think this is wrong. Well, it's okay. Yes or no?
First,
Yes, it's it. Yeah. Dang. Can I use? I guess that's beats nothing, right?
Yes.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. But let's see if it books.
Yeah. That.
It's booked?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Okay, y'all. Did I pay? I don't remember. Did I pay you?
Yes,
I paid you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Can we split it?
Yeah, you can take it. Thank you. So I closed the place down and didn't even realize it. So the 7th day. Okay, so what? So in the solar form, soot became. In other words, soot didn't become anything. They changed it. Soot becomes Sevek Ra, the lamb of the 13th dynasty. This occurred when? At the equinox. The vernal, spring, and autumn equinox, Aries and Libra. Right, y'all? Y'all see it? The Eschuan sun entered into the zodiac sign Aries, symbolized as the ram or lamb. And he who was in his Sabian origin, the leader of the Typhonian 7 of the constellation of the Great Bear, was continued as the lamb of the 7 stars of the book of Revelation. Okay. They're throwing me out. Islam to all the Moors. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom, y'all. I gotta go. They want to go home. I can't blame them. All right. I gotta pack up. Okay. So this book is phenomenal. I hope everybody is learning and enjoying it. Y'all share the book. Share this video. Do that for me. Can y'all do that for me? Help me out. Help me with getting the information out. Shalom, y'all.